Hamilton continues to flash his headlights. He's going to have to do this on the brakes, and he does just that. So Archie Hamilton gains the position, moves up into 5th. His next target, the Camaro of Max Volker. And that may even be completed by the time they get to the Rettifilio. And you can see the Camaro punching down the straight. And will there be any Chevrolet solidarity here or not? Hamilton determined to make it stick on the brakes, and he does just that. He eases through. Beautifully judged move there from Archie Hamilton up into 4th position. And his next target is Vaclav Maliev. Maliev some 10 seconds up the road. Volker under immediate pressure, though, from Mario Cordoni, but both of them have got to be very mindful of the progress in Nicky Pastorelli-Miguel just in behind them. Paolo Ruberti in the car that leads the GTS Championship. Well, he is quite some way back in 11th place, but is setting very impressive lap times, as you'd expect from a driver of Ruberti's experience. 20 minutes to go, and this is the battle for the lead of the race between Miguel Ramos and Maxime Soulé. A pair of them heading through Ascari for the 22nd time of asking. Pulling clear of Vaclav Maliev in 3rd place. In 4th, then it's the bright yellow Corvette we're watching now of Archie Hamilton. 5th is Max Volker, who's still being pressurised by Mario Cordoni, who tries to force it into Ascari, and around goes Cordoni. He just keeps the Ombra Ferrari out of the tyre wall. Now, has he kept the engine alive here? This is not somewhere that he particularly wants to recover from. And it's a great shame for Cordoni. First place he loses is to the sister Ombra car of Stefano Constantini. Releases Nicky Pastorelli-Miguel into challenge. Here then, another look. Hamilton's move to the inside of Max Volker. Sees the gap. Through he goes. Nicely done. And Hamilton's Tumlu really making a very potent pairing in the SRT Corvette. As Mario Cordoni was trying to force it to the inside at Ascari. Wasn't going to happen. Rode the curbs too much and planted his foot whilst the Ferrari was still porpoising a little bit. He's certainly amongst the favourites. Hamilton, though, before he does anything else, has got to overhaul Vaclav Maliev. The blue flag being waved to Maliev to let him know that Hamilton's there. I'm pretty sure that Vaclav is well aware of that already, having been told by the team on the radio. Nonetheless, the GTS victory is potentially more important, and Hamilton eases to the inside and takes 3rd place away from Vaclav Maliev. It's a good move from Hamilton. Typical Monza stuff. As it Perez Icar. Don't forget, Perez Icar and Maliev, they're racing really with a focus on the GTS crown. And we saw yesterday with Giorgio Roda, he was quite content to let the Super GTs past him, as long as it meant that he could maintain the GTS lead. And the same policy today for Maliev could potentially be very beneficial. No change between the two leaders. Miguel Ramos and Maxime Soulé remain as they ever were. Maxime Soulé all over the tail of Miguel Ramos, but he's not as yet really launched a bid. Ramos sticking to the racing line. I don't think either of them got any concerns about Hamilton. Hamilton's about 14 seconds back. He is a second a lap quicker, but he needs to be 2 seconds a lap faster to have any hope of catching them between now and the checkered flag. Behind Maliev in 5th position, it's Nicky Pastorelli-Miguel, who is 2nd in the GTS class. In 6th, it's Stefano Constantini. He has got Daniel Zampieri in 7th all over his tail. Then it's Max Volker, Paolo Ruberti, passing the Thoras, who complete the top 10. So Ramos and Soulé on to their 30th lap of the race. As we have a look at the challenge from Daniel Zampieri to the inside of Stefano Constantini. That's the place game for Zampieri, up into 6th position, and that could be very significant with the championship, because it's an extra point for Daniel Zampieri. And if Maxime Soulé was to find a way past Miguel Ramos before the end of the race, it would give Mavlanov and Zampieri the lead of the in the title race. Nicky Ramos, though, is doing exactly what he needs to be, sticking to the racing line. He's going to make Maxime Soulé do all the hard work in terms of finding a way past him. Maxime Soulé just beginning to ask some slightly more probing questions. The other factor here, of course, is just managing those Dunlop tyres, which will be going to feel very second-hand as Nikita Zlobin has a little bit of a moment at the opening chicane. So he'll have recovered with no harm done, although possibly he will have Daniel Zampieri breathing down his neck in fairly short order as Maxime Soulé pulls out of the slipstream. As we head into the final 5 minutes, Soulé clearly expressing his intent to try and win this one if he possibly can, because Soulé could still win the title for himself. 22 points would be very helpful for Soulé, at least in making it a four-way scrap as we go into the final few races of the year. Fingers crossed from Nicky Pastorelli. Nicky has been top of international motorsport for well over 15 or so years now, former European Formula 3000 champion. He just wants his car, first of all, to hold together, given the bad luck they've had recently. Secondly, for Miguel Ramos to come through and win this one. There's no concern from Archie Hamilton. Now the Evs across the line in fourth. There has Zampieri past Nikita Zlobin as a result of Zlobin's indiscretion at the opening chicane. Not quite. They are very, very close, heading towards the Rettifilio. And here they come, the two almost identically liveried cars, and Zampieri to the inside Nikita Zlobin. And that could be significant as well if Stefano Constantini finds a way past Zlobin. That is for second place in GTS for Daniel Zampieri, though more importantly, it is more points. He is fourth in the Super GT classification. That gives him 4 points. He is now fifth in the race, and that gives him another 5. So 9 points for Zampieri will propel him up to 178 points. Another look at it. And this is a really mature drive from Zampieri. We've become accustomed in the past few seasons of just seeing him wringing the neck of the Ferrari whenever possible. But the more mature approach is really working in potentially netting the points. I don't think Zampieri is going to get onto terms with Vacislav Maliev between now and the flag. So we turn our attention once more to the battle for the lead. We are about to embark on the penultimate lap of the race as Stefano Constantini continues to pressurise Nikita Zlobin. They're about to catch up with Thomas Gruber as well, the Austrian driver, who is making a very welcome return to the International GT Open this weekend. Zlobin flashes his headlights. He's got to be careful he doesn't get boxed in by Constantini. That doesn't happen. Zlobin will pull out the slipstream at the last possible moment, launch the inside of the Auto Orlando Sport Porsche. Constantini is unable to do so until mid-corner, and so it's slightly advantage Zlobin. So we accelerate through over the line. And Andrea Monterni continues to circulate. If he does get classified, that will net him 3 points for fifth in the Super GT class. Still very, very close between Constantini and Zlobin. Now Constantini thinks about the move into the chicane. This, the second GTS class, it's not going to bring Constantini into the GTS title battle particularly, but they're having a lot of fun. Nose to tail through the first Lesmo. They've got 1.5 laps within which they need to resolve this fight. Again, Zlobin being very aggressive in defence. It would appear as if Constantini in the Ombra car's got a little bit more in the way of tyres underneath him. The Nikita Zlobin covers the inside line, but they head towards Ascari. Constantini comes out of the toe, nice and early. Is he going to be able to try and force his way through? He should be able to do so if Zlobin doesn't break too late, but Zlobin very late on the brakes. He takes the optimal racing line, but is a little bit slower midway through Ascari. Now that's going to give Constantini the opportunity to challenge. We're into the last lap of the race for the race leaders. Stefano Constantini looking every which way, and they've got Paolo Ruberti looming large on their tail as well. Headlights ablaze for Ruberti. He's not going to catch them unless they really do start getting embroiled in a little bit of a battle here as they accelerate through to the conclusion of their 32nd lap. This is the fight for 6th and 7th. Here is the battle for the lead the race. The two Corvettes run as one. Has Maxime Soulé got anything here with which to overhaul Miguel Ramos? On to the first Lesmo. Maxime Soulé would jump to 152 points in the championship. The victory would bring him more into contention. As it is, he'd still have an outside shout at the crown. The victory, by my maths, would give Ramos and Pastorelli, though, the championship lead by just the 1 point over Mavlanov and Zampieri. On the brakes into Ascari for the final time of asking. The two Corvettes suffered such bad luck yesterday. The V8 team, though, have shown their resilience, they've shown their professionalism, and they've bounced back in the best possible fashion today. As we sprint towards the Parabolica, the final time. Is Maxime Soulé going to launch a challenge on Miguel Ramos? It's now or never, and I think it's never. Miguel Ramos turns into the final corner, en route to he and Nicky Pastorelli's 5th victory of the season in the International GT Open, and it's going to be the win for Ramos and Pastorelli that brings them to the top of the championship standings. 2nd place for Maxime Soulé and Kelvin Snooks, a 1-2 for V8 Racing. 3rd goes the way of Archie Hamilton and Isaac Tutumlu in the SRT Corvette, and then for 4th place Vatislav Maliev and Jose Perez Icart victorious in GTS. 5th to Daniel Zampieri, but who will get 6th and 2nd in the GTS class? I think it's just going to be Nikita Zlobin as they accelerate towards the line. Indeed it is. Zlobin just pips Stefano Constantini, so it's Zlobin and Persiani for 2nd in GTS. Constantini and Bontempelli complete the GTS rostrum. Well, what a race, and what a dramatic way that the championship is set up, with just 2 races to come on the 1st and 2nd of November at the Circuit de Catalunya. So there is going to be an awful lot to think about between now and then. For now, though, Miguel Ramos and Nicky Pastorelli can celebrate. The last 4 races, they've retired from 2 of them. They've won the other 2. Maxime Soulé riding shotgun behind Miguel Ramos. He and Kelvin Snooks grabbing a podium from the weekend. Yesterday, they arguably could have won the race. It didn't quite pan out that way for Archie Hamilton and Isaac Tutumlu. That's their 3rd straight rostrum in a row. Means they're going to have a fair old chunk of handicap time heading into Barcelona. I'm sure that won't prevent them enjoying, celebrating the way that today's race has unfolded. So the win for Ramos and Pastorelli, just 7/10 clear of Snooks and Soulé, and Ramos Pastorelli setting the fastest lap. 3rd for Hamilton and Tutumlu, 4th and winning the GTS class for Maliev and Perez Icart. 5th Mavlanov and Zampieri, 6th Nikita Zlobin and Luca Persiani, their 2nd in GTS from completing that rostrum. Constantini and Bontempelli. Great drive from Paolo Ruberti. Giorgio Roda to finish 8th and 4th in class from Max Volker and Thomas Enger. The top 10 completed by Passina Thoras and Richard Lyons. Sainz Campanico and Nadia Patel, difficult weekend for them. They finish in 11th. Ahead of Matteo Beretta and Joel Comathius. It's never really got going for the Auto Orlando Sport pairing here in Monza. Then Cordoni and Gattuso in 13th after Mario Spin. Claire Stanvich, Federico Leo in 14th. 5 laps down for Andrea Montermini and Nicolo Schiro. So there you have it in the championship. How close do you want it? 179 points for Pastorelli and Ramos, just a point clear of Mavlanov and Zampieri, and 4 points back for Montermini and Shiro. With 44 points left to race for, it is going to be an incredibly close conclusion to the end of the season. So out, opening the door, is Miguel Ramos. He jumps out and celebrates. He will be overjoyed with that. Miguel Ramos, a really nice performance. Again, he shows his ability at driving under pressure, managing that pressure so well. Handshakes and congratulations. Maxime Soulé, the same. The two teammates racing as teammates should. Hard and close.